everyone doing? Everyone doing? All right, so I want to say happy 6 de Mayo.
Seis.
Yes.
Happy seis.
Happy 6 de Mayo. Hope you guys had a good Cinco de Mayo. Hope everybody had fun. We had a good time last night. We went out to Riverside Park, I think is the name of it. Had some fun with the family. It was really good. So I just want to welcome you guys out today. We hope you had a fun weekend, that it continues today. We're glad that you guys are here at church with us this morning, and it's super, super good to see everybody here today. You guys look amazing. You guys look extra great this morning. Is it good? The coffee cake? Good. Eat it up. Tony's eaten like half the coffee cake already, so keep going. So we do have one announcement this morning. Next Sunday, next Saturday, we're going to be doing a Crazy Love outreach. We're going to be handing out about 100 roses at different places. We're not exactly sure. It's going to be a little bit of a surprise, but we're going to meet at 10:30, and we're going to meet on Pine Ridge Road at the Vineyards Publix. And from there, we're going to kind of break up. Or we may stay all as one team, depending on how many people we have. And then we're going to hand out roses to unsuspecting moms. And it's going to be really special. It's really, really cool to just kind of see who you encounter on those days, because there have been some really cool experiences. One mom one year, she had actually lost her son, and Josh gave her a rose, and she just broke down and cried, and she felt like it was from her son in a sense. Right. And so you see kind of experiences like this, and it's super, super special. So come on out. It's going to be meet us at 10:30. If you don't go to Livewire, it's fine. You can come and meet us 10:30 Pine Ridge Road at the Vineyards Publix. Contact us if you have any questions. It's going to be super, super special. So with that, we're super happy that you guys are here today. You guys ready to hear from God?
Yes.
You guys ready? All right, so why don't you guys welcome Josh up this morning?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, it is great to have all of you here with us, and those of you that have joined us online, thank you again for being with us. If you need the notes, if you don't have the notes, if you have the Livewire app, you can get the message notes there, or you can go to livewirechurch.com, click on All Access Sundays, and you can grab the message notes right there online as well. So have you ever wished for something and got what you wished for? Anybody ever wish for something? You're like, man, I got what I wished for. And especially when we were kids, we probably remember this a lot. And maybe we were wishing for something for Christmas, or maybe for our birthday, or maybe that our parents would buy us. And you wish for something like, man, I wish I can get this. I wish I could have this. And you actually get it. But now, have you ever wished for something and got it and then wish you didn't get it? Have you ever wished for something so bad and you actually got it, and then you wish, I didn't have this? Well, that's what we're going to talk about a little bit this morning. And actually, we're going to go way back into the Old Testament. We're going to look at a situation, look at an event in history, an instance that happened with the people of Israel when God brought them out of Egypt, and now they're in the wilderness, okay? And they're going to be taking the promised land. And we're actually at the point where God tells Moses, hey, Moses, I want you to pick out 12 leaders. Pick out one leader from each tribe of Israel. So 12 leaders, 12 tribes of Israel. He says, I want you to pick out these 12 men, and I want you to send them to go check out the land. I want you to send them to go check out the land, bring back a report. Well, when those 12 men came back, 10 of those men had a bad report, and 2 of them had a good report. 2 of them had a very good report that they shared. And so you had 10 men that said, oh, that land, there's giants in there, and yes, there's good food, and yeah, it's plush, and it's a great land and all that, but there's giants, and there's no way we could defeat them. And then you had the 2 that had a good report, and they're just like, hey, listen, this is what God said. This is the land that God promised us, and, we can take it because God's with us, and all of that. Well, as usually happens, maybe in circles conversations that we've been in, or whether it's at work or at school, or just when we're around a group of people, usually the majority kind of speaks louder, if you will. And so what happened here is the 10 guys that gave this bad report, gave this evil report, and just were sourpusses, and were just talking about all the negatives and all the bad in it. Everybody started believing. Every man, every woman started believing, oh my gosh, there's no way we could do this. Okay, so we pick this up And actually, if you want to read through that, it's Numbers 13 where God tells Moses, hey, send these guys in the land. But we're going to pick up in Numbers 14, starting at verse 1. And we're just going to kind of go through this and just pick out some stuff and that applies to us or that we could learn from this situation and this event. Verse 1. Then the whole community, speaking of all the people of Israel, the whole community began weeping out loud, and they cried all night. Their voices rose in a great chorus of protest against Moses and Aaron. So now they're crying, but they're also like, in protest, we hate you, Moses, we hate you, Aaron. And notice what they're saying. If only we had died in Egypt, or even here in the wilderness. Hold on to that. They said, if only we had died in Egypt. We were slaves in Egypt, but man, it was better there than it is now. Or if only, even if we couldn't die in Egypt, if we could have died here in the wilderness, they complain. Hold on to that. Why is the Lord taking us to this country only to have us die in battle? Our wives and our little ones will be carried off as plunder. Wouldn't it be better for us to return to Egypt? Now, if you're taking notes, jot this down. Looking at what you don't have instead of what you do have leads to foolish choices. And this happens so often. And if we're not careful, this happens to us as Christians, as Jesus followers. A lot of times we look at what we don't have. And so because we don't have it and we're not looking at what we do have, we look at what we don't have. Consequently, you have people that are going into debt to get what they don't have. It's like, this is an okay house, that I live in. But man, it'd be nice to have a bigger one. It'd be nice to have a man cave. It'd be nice to have, more bedrooms. It'd be nice to have a bigger kitchen. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. But when you just keep looking at what you don't have and you don't look at what you do have, like, wow, I've got a roof over my head. I've got 4 walls. Like, my air conditioning works. The water works. Like, I could take a hot shower. Because there are a lot of people around the world. Like, if we put this thing in perspective, there's a lot of people around the world that don't have a roof over their head. There's people in the United States that don't have a roof over their head. There's people in other countries that don't have a roof over their head. And what happens is we look at what we don't have. We look at what we're looking at what we don't have, and we don't look at what we do have. And so then we make foolish choices. And we say, well, you know what? Maybe I could get a better spouse. So maybe I need to divorce this one and go because we're looking at what we don't have in our marriage. So we think, I'll just go get it somewhere else. And friends, this is happening. We've heard of these situations. We've seen these situations. And so this is why I say, again, looking at what you don't have instead of what you do have leads to foolish choices. The Israelites wanted to go back into slavery. Think about that. Instead of taking the promised land. It's like, why would they want to go back into slavery instead of taking the promised land? Like, God's telling them, hey, this is yours. I've promised this to you all the way back. When you go all the way back to Abraham, God said, look, Abraham, look to the north, look to the south, to the east, to the west. Look, all of this is yours. And now God was getting ready to bring the people of Israel, as he started the nation through Abraham, he was getting ready to bring the people of Israel into that promised land. And they're like, oh, there's no way. There's giants. They forgot how big their God is. They forgot how big their God was. Verse 5. Then Moses and Aaron fell down on the ground before the whole community of Israel. 2 of the men who had explored the land, Joshua the son of Nun and Caleb the son of Jephunneh, tore their clothing. They said to all the people of Israel, the land we traveled through and explored is a wonderful land. And if the Lord is pleased with us, he will bring us safely into the land and give it to us. It is a rich land flowing with milk and honey. Do not rebel against the Lord, and don't be afraid of the people of the land. They are only helpless prey to us. They have no protection, but the Lord is with us. Don't be afraid of them. Notice that Moses and Aaron, they fell down on their knees. They started praying. Like, they know what's getting ready to happen. They know God's going to show up any moment. And they just start praying. And Joshua and Caleb, they're just like telling people, listen, come on. They're trying to encourage them, but then at the same time trying to warn them. If you're taking notes, you need people to get up in your business when you're about to do something stupid. You need a praying mama. You need a dad that's going to get up in your junk and say, you're being stupid, straighten up, because you're about to ruin your life. You're about to mess up your life. You're about to do something really stupid that you're going to regret the choices you need people, and you need friends in your life that are going to do that. Not just parents, you need friends in your life that are going to do that. You need people that are close to you that are going to say, man, Josh, what are you doing right now? You're really going to sacrifice your marriage. You're really going to sacrifice your family for this? You're really going to throw that away for this? You need people. You need people in your life. I need people in my life that are going to get up in my business when I'm about to do something stupid. Moses and Aaron, again, they prayed and Caleb and Joshua encouraged and warned the people. Like, don't do this. Don't rebel against God. Don't do it. Don't go that route. Verse 10. But the whole community began to talk about stoning Joshua and Caleb. The people got so upset with Joshua and Caleb. I mean, isn't that what we do? Again, if you're taking notes, don't turn against the ones who love you, who are only trying to help. I mean, isn't it just nuts when you think about it? Like, after this situation happens, in our life, and a loved one, a friend, a family member, a parent, somebody that's there that truly loves us, they're saying, hey, listen, don't do that, man. You're about to make a stupid choice. And a lot of times, what do? Shut up, man. Leave me alone. You're stupid. You don't know what you're talking about, right? We get upset at them when they love us enough to say, hey, don't do it. Don't go that route. I'm trying to help you. And that's exactly what the people were doing. They were upset with Joshua and Caleb. They're like, shut up. This is what we want to do. Verse 10. Then the glorious presence of the Lord appeared to all the Israelites at the tabernacle. And the Lord said to Moses, how long will these people treat me with contempt? This is why Moses and Aaron fell on their knees, because they knew at some point God's going to show up and God ain't going to be too happy. Now, God, obviously, he hears everything. He knows everything. He sees everything. But he's giving the people, here's the thing that we have to understand. This is grace. God gives us opportunity after opportunity. What did Peter say? Peter said, hey, man, God's not slow. God's not lazy. God's not, just sleeping somewhere. No, God is patient. He's patient with humanity, not willing that any would perish, but that all would have eternal life. That's what God desires. And so God gives us chance after chance after chance after chance. But friends, at some point, enough is enough. And it's not that God's going to, especially in this time of grace that we live in, this time of grace, it's not that God's going to damn us to hell or something. It's not that we're going to lose our salvation, but it's not even that grace runs out. God's favor doesn't run out. It's the fact that God has given us plenty of opportunity. And at some point, God's going to say, okay, that's the route you want to go. That's the choice you want to make. That's the road you want to travel. Go ahead. That's your choice. You want to do that? Then that's up to you. Because God is not going to make us obey him. God's not going to make us serve him. God's not going to make us live for him. God's not going to make us choose him. That's why he made us human beings with a free will. See, if God wanted robots, he could have created robots and said, okay, every morning at 9 a.m., you're going to bow down, you're going to worship me. At noon, you're going to do the same thing. At 5 p.m., you're going to do the same thing. If God wanted robots, he'd have created robots, but he created us people, human beings, with the free will to choose to serve him, to choose him, to choose to give our life and to live for him. So again, notice he says, how long will these people treat me with contempt? Will they never believe me? Even after all the miraculous signs I have done among them, I will disown them and destroy them with a plague. God says, how long are these people going to complain? When you look at from the point that the people of Israel came out of Egypt up to this point, constantly they complain. Oh, I'm thirsty. When are we going to get something to drink? Oh, I'm tired of this manna. When are we going to have some meat? Oh, I'm tired of walking. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of that. You know what? And the thing is, we laugh, right? We laugh. Like I laugh at it too. But how about us? Like, how many times have we done that? Come on, God. Like, why do I have to do this? Why do I have to go through this? Why does my job have to be like this? Why does this have to happen? God, why can't I have a bigger house? Why can't I have this? Right? We complain. And God's saying, how long? And then on top of that, again, because they went into the land and they saw the giants and all of that, and like, oh my goodness, but these people have seen miracle after miracle. They saw God split the Red Sea. They walked across the Red Sea with walls of water on both sides. And the water did not crash on them. They got to the other side, and the Egyptians came after them, and God closed the waters. They saw that. They have seen from this point, from the time that they left Egypt till now, till this point, they have seen a pillar of fire by night leading them. They've seen a cloud leading them by day, a pillar of cloud leading them by day. They've seen this. They've seen one miracle after another. They've seen when they were asking for meat and they were having bread, they had manna, and God just brought a whole bunch of birds, a whole bunch of quail just flew down, and they were able to just catch them and eat them. They've seen God provide. They've seen God do all these miracles. They've seen God love them and provide for every one of their needs. And it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. And friends, if we are honest, we've done that in our lives. You know, it's like we get something, but then, oh, well, it's not enough. Come on, God, I want more. I want more. And the reason why is this. Paul hit it on the nose. The flesh is never satisfied. I could have $50,000 in the bank, and my flesh will not be satisfied with that. My flesh is going to say, all right, 50,000, I need 500,000. When I reach 500,000, flesh won't be satisfied. The flesh will say, I need 5 million. I won't be satisfied. I need 50 million. The flesh is never satisfied. I mean, we could eat. And it's like, okay, well, yep, I'm full. I'll probably never eat. Have you ever done that for Thanksgiving? Right? We eat all this food and we're just full. We're like, man, I'm not eating for like a week. I'm not eating for a month. And it'd be like a couple hours later, where's that turkey at, man? Mashed potatoes, where's that at? Right? Because the flesh is never satisfied. The flesh will eat more, the flesh will take more, the flesh will use more, the flesh will want more, the flesh will desire more. This body, this flesh that we walk around in. And so the fact of the matter is, I mean, we can relate to the people of Israel because we've done that. We've complained. We've complained, even though we see all the good things, even though we've seen God provide for us throughout our lives, we can still complain. So notice again, God says, will they never believe me, even after the miraculous signs I have done among them? Grace, if you're taking notes, jot this down. Grace does not mean treat God any way you want. That's not what grace means. It's not, oh, I've given you my favor. Feel free to walk all over me. Feel free to say whatever you want about me. Feel free to say whatever you want to say to my face or treat me anyway. That's not what grace is. See, grace is favor that you and I can't earn. We can't work for it. God just says, hey, it's yours. But that doesn't mean that I could just treat God any way I want. And so this is why I say, hey, God gave them opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. So this isn't like, they just complained once and God said, boom, I'm raining judgment. No, you read from the time they left Egypt until that point, until this point that we're reading about, you read. And it's one complaining thing after another, whining and all this stuff. And so this isn't the only time, and God is giving them grace and more grace and more grace and more grace. This isn't the only time that they complain. This is happening over and over. And so again, God came to that point where he says, all right, enough is enough. You want to choose the route you want to choose, then that's the route you're going to take, and you're going to have to reap the consequences of that action, of the choice that you're making. All right, let's look at verse 21. Notice verse 21. But as surely as I live, God says, and as surely as the earth is filled with the Lord's glory, not one of these people will ever enter that land. So speaking of the promised land, so speaking of this land that God promised them, notice what he says. Not one of these people will ever enter that land. They have all seen my glorious presence and the miraculous signs I performed both in Egypt and in the wilderness. So just like I was saying, they've seen God do some great things. They've seen God do incredible things over and over. They have seen my glorious presence and miraculous signs I performed both in Egypt and in the wilderness. But again and again, they have tested me by refusing to listen to my voice. So again and again, God's reminding, hey, Moses, I've given them chance after chance after chance. But again and again and again, they refuse to listen to my voice. can I encourage us with these words? Refuse to listen to the voice in your head, and instead of refusing to listen to God's voice. Like, we've got this voice in our head, right? That's just saying, oh yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna get upset. I'm just gonna get mad. I'm just gonna complain. We got this voice in our head that says, well, I just go that route. Just do that thing. Just, if they don't like it, that's okay. Just do that thing. Just do that bad thing. Just do this evil thing. Just, who cares about God? Oh, who cares about, what that person thinks? Oh, who cares about your parents? Who cares about, just do what you want to do. Do it. Because this voice in our head will get us in trouble. This voice that's speaking to us and says, hey, yeah, just curse them. You know what? It doesn't matter. Go do what you want to do. Live your life. You only live once. Do whatever it is that you want to do. I want to challenge us to refuse to listen to the voice in our head instead listen to the voice of God. Because time after time, the children of Israel, they just wouldn't listen to God. God's trying to bless them. Like, God's trying to bring them into a land that he promised all the way back, hundreds of years, promised to Abraham. God's trying to bring them into that land, a land of their own. They never had a land of their own. God's trying to bring them into a land of their own that is a prosperous land. Actually, God even reminds them, Moses reminds the people in Deuteronomy, he says, when you go into the land and you see the wells that you didn't dig, and you see the farmland that you didn't farm, that it's all there, you make sure that you thank God. He says, because you didn't dig those wells, you didn't plant those vegetables, you didn't plant the fruits, you didn't do all that. He says, remember and thank God that he brought you and he gave you this land. And so the fact of the matter is they just kept refusing to listen, And again, like I said, God said, all right, enough is enough. Then you want to choose that route. Sometimes, friends, we've got to exercise tough love. And tough love is a love that says, hey, you want to choose this route, and I've warned you, and I've encouraged you, and I've tried to help you over and over and over. You want to choose this route, but you don't see that it's messing up your life. I'm going to let you make the choice you want to make, and I'm keeping my hands off, if you will. Tough love. Sometimes you've got to exercise. Sometimes we've got to exercise a little bit of tough love. Notice verse 28. Now tell them this. As surely as I live, declares the Lord. As surely as I live, declares the Lord, I will do to you the very things I heard you say. So God's still speaking, and he's still talking about, okay, here's what's about to happen. As surely as I live, declares the Lord, I will do the very things I heard you say. You will all drop dead in this wilderness. What did they say? We should just go back to Egypt and die there. Or what if we just died in this wilderness? Be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it. You will all drop dead in this wilderness because you complained against me. Every one of you who is 20 years old or older and was included in the registration will die. Talking about when they registered to fight, to go to battle. Every single person that was 20 years old and older, God says, you're going to die in the wilderness. It took 40 years. The people of Israel wandered in the wilderness for 40 years. And until that generation died off, they didn't go back into the promised land. Here's the other thing, is that their children were impacted by this. Because their children, they had to walk in the wilderness for 40 years because of what their parents chose to do, because of their parents' choice to reject God, to walk away from God. The children even paid the price for it. And we were having this discussion as a family last week. We were talking about this, and we were just talking about how, sometimes people think that, oh, well, I'm making this choice for me. Like, this is my choice for my life. And we don't realize the impact that it makes on our loved ones. We think that we're just choosing to do something and it just affects us. No, the choices that I make as a husband and as a father affects my family. The choices that I make affects my wife. It affects my children. The choices that I make, it affects my family, like my parents and my brothers and their families. It affects them. And so we think, oh, well, like a person thinks, oh, well, I'm going to do drugs and that's just my choice and it's only going to affect me. It doesn't. It affects your loved ones. It affects everyone around you, everybody that knows you and has a relationship with you. And so we see this very thing playing out where the people of Israel, they refused. They kept rejecting God time and time again. They kept rejecting God. And now God had to exercise some judgment. God had to punish them. And in that, their children paid a price. Their children were impacted by the very decision, again, that they made. Now, along those lines, let's fast forward hundreds of years over, because Paul actually refers to this situation. Also, the writer of Hebrews also writes about this situation. And I want us to see this. Notice what happened again with the people of Israel. Notice what took place. Because again, friends, let's be honest. We can relate. Like, we've done some of those things, right? We've complained at times. We've rejected God at times. And we have to be careful about the complaining, the rejecting, about turning away from God, because we will reap the consequences of our actions. In fact, Paul writes in another place, he says, hey, God's not going to be mocked. Like, you can't mock the grace of God. You can't mock God's justice. If we sow to this flesh, then of this flesh we're going to reap corruption. We're going to reap destruction in our life. If we sow to the Spirit, then of the Spirit we're going to reap eternal life or ongoing perpetual life. That's God's desire for our life. You remember again where God tells the people of Israel, hey, choose this day. Who you or I put before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Then he tells them, choose life. Choose life. And every single one of us here, those of us that are watching online, every single one of us, I'm sure every single one of us want life, not death. And that's what God desires for us. That's God's plan for us. So God wasn't just saying to the people of Israel, hey, I want you to obey me because I'm God. God never did that. God never said, obey me because I'm God. God never said, obey me because I brought you out of Egypt. God never said that. God said, I want a people for my own. And I want to bless the world. I mean, that's what God told Abraham. Abraham, I'm going to bless you and you are going to be a blessing. I'm going to bless you, Abraham, and you're going to be a blessing. That's God's desire, is life and blessing for people all around the world. That's God's desire for us. So it's not because he's God and that's the reason why we should obey him, although it is the reason we should, live for him and obey him, because he's God and we're not. That's not God's motive. God's not trying to put fear inside of us to the point that, we're so afraid that because he's God, we're going to obey him because we're so afraid. That's not what God wants. God desires to bless our lives. He desires to give us a perpetual, ongoing life. Notice what Paul writes, 1 Corinthians 10, verse 5 and 6. He says, yet God was not pleased with most of them, and their bodies were scattered in the wilderness. So he's talking about this very situation, this event in history that took place that we read about. He said God was not pleased with them, and their bodies were scattered. Over 40 years, their bodies were scattered in the wilderness. Verse 6, listen to this. These things happened as a warning to us, so that we would not crave evil things as they did. These things happened to them as an example for us. They were written down to warn us who live at the end of this age. And so notice Paul says, it's a warning. What happened to the people of Israel is a warning for us. What happened to them is an example for us. Like, this is something that we should learn from. In other words, if you're taking notes, jot this down. Learn from other people's mistakes as well as your own. I mean, friends, there are some mistakes that we don't have to make because another family member or a friend has made them. And let's learn from that. Why should we make the same mistake? Like, why should we do the same thing that they did, knowing what the result is and knowing we're going to have the same result? Why should we do that? Let's learn. And in all reality, this is what the Old Testament is about. Aside from going back into the Old Testament and finding Jesus in the Old Testament, okay, we should go back into the Old Testament to learn from the Davids and the Elijahs and the Moseses and all these people in history, the mistakes that they made and even their successes, like learning from their failures and learning from their successes, because that's why it's there. So that we can read and say, oh, wow, yeah, you know what? They kept rejecting God over and over and over. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be that person. You know, when God speaks, I want to listen to God's voice. When God instructs me to do something, God says he wants to bless me, you know, I want to listen. I want to know what it is that God has for my life. So Paul says, hey, it's a warning to us. What they went through hundreds of years ago, what they decided to do, with, you know, the choices that they made hundreds of years ago, God says this is a warning for us, and it's also an example for us. Let's learn. Let's learn from each other's mistakes. Like when we have the discussion time and we're able to kind of share, oh yeah, you know, back when I wasn't walking with God, you know, here's what I did, here's some of the mistakes that I made. You know, maybe one of us is going through something similar, or maybe we're thinking of making a choice. Let's learn from each other. Let's learn from each other, because we don't have to make the same mistakes. The writer of Hebrews writes this, Hebrews 3, 7, and 8. That is why the Holy Spirit says, today, when you hear his voice, don't harden your hearts as Israel did when they rebelled, when they tested me in the wilderness. So the last thing, if you're taking notes today, give God your complete undivided attention, because the people of Israel didn't. And he said, you know, who cares? Who cares about what God says? You know what? It would have been better if we were in Egypt. It would have been better if we just died in this wilderness. It would have been better, you know? And they got exactly what they asked for. Be careful. Be careful what you wish for, because you might just get it. You know, there are things that we think about that we think, oh yeah, if I had this, you know, I wish I had this, because if I had this, I would be satisfied. I would be content. And please, can I be a voice in your life? You're not going to be satisfied. Your flesh is never going to be satisfied. The only way that we're going to be satisfied is just by saying, God, what is it that you have for my life? What is it that you want to do with my life? You know, hey, would I like $1 million? Absolutely. I'd love to be a millionaire. And if God has that for me down the road, if God has that for my family down the road, I'd love it. Awesome. But you know what? I want to have the attitude like Paul, where Paul says, you know, there are times where I've had a lot and I was content. Paul says there were a lot of times where I had next to nothing and I was content. We've got to be content with where we are, with where God has us, knowing that he's got the best for us. God is not holding back. He's not holding back from your life. He's not holding back from my life. So let's be careful what we wish for, because in wishing for things that truly we don't really want, we think we want, we can ruin some other things in our life. We can ruin some relationships. We can ruin some physical things that we have, whether it's a house, an automobile, a career, our finances. We can ruin some things in our lives, all because we're thinking about the immediate. Oh, if I had that thing right now. And we're not thinking about the repercussions or the consequences of that choice that we might make. And so as we wrap up, just a couple questions that I want us to think about. What might we miss out on by refusing to listen to God? And what might the repercussions be of refusing to listen to God? And also, how can learning from other people's mistakes help us? So let's go ahead and close up in a word of prayer. God, I just thank you so much for your message that you've shared with us today. And God, I pray, Lord, that it's not just a warning, but that it's also a word of encouragement, because we see the mistakes that the people of Israel have made, and we don't have to make those same mistakes. And just being encouraged by the fact that you desire the best, again, for us, that's what you wanted for the people of Israel, but over and over they choose their own needs. They choose what they wanted. They choose what was the immediate thing in front of them, their own desires that were in front of them, not seeing that you had something so much better for them. And God, I pray that we would see the so much better that you have for us than just the good that we may want right now, or even the great that we may want right now. God, that you have the absolute best for our lives if we would just turn our lives over to you, if we would just walk with you each and every day, that you're not holding back on us, that you're not holding back your blessings, you're not holding back your goodness, you're not holding back your grace, your mercy, your love, you're not holding back your forgiveness, you're not holding back no good thing from us, God, but you have the best for us. And God, sometimes I know I'm there probably with everyone here, those that are watching online. God, I know that a lot of times we see the immediate thing that's right there, that we could have it, we could grab it, we could pay for it, we can go in debt for it. And we don't see the best that you have for us that's just around the corner. And it's just easy to take the immediate thing, the thing that's right in front of us. But then we settle for good or for great when you have the absolute best for our lives. And God, I pray that we would wait, that we would be patient, that we would be patient and wait for the absolute best that you have for us. The absolute best marriage, the absolute best career, the absolute best as it relates to our finances. God, as it relates to a home, what we should buy, God, that we would wait for the absolute best instead of just settling and just taking something because it's what we want right now. God, I pray that we wouldn't just fall into the trap that so many people in the world fall into, that we just live in this society of, I want my way right away. God, that we would not fall into that trap, because the my way right away is not always the right choice. It's not always the right decision. It's not always the best for us. And so, God, I just pray that we just be patient. And we would just be patient and wait on you, that we would be satisfied with what you have for our lives. And God, we just thank you for it, and we give you all the praise and all the glory and the honor. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. Thank you, all of you, for being with us today. Those of you that have joined us online. We do something here at our house location where after the message we're going to get into a discussion. And if you want to know more about Livewire Church, especially those of you that are online, we would definitely encourage you to go to livewirechurch.com, and we've got all the information about our church, house location. If you're ready to take a next step toward Jesus, all that information online. So definitely go to our website, livewirechurch.com, and contact us. We would love to connect with you. And so we're going to go into our discussion. Thank you so much, those of you online. God bless you. Have an awesome Sunday. We'll see you next Sunday. Amen.